Welcome to episode 8 of Cooking with Kyle. I am in Garden and Wilson too. In today's episode, I've picked out two really good recipes. I think you're going to really like them. I've never made either one of them before. They sound really simple, but a lot like a lot of recipes you'll find in gardens, they are simple, but they taste pretty extravagant. So I think you're gonna like them. The first one is a lamb sausage puff pastry, which I've gone to my local butcher shop that I go to, and I have not been able to find lamb sausage. But in the cookbook, she refers to just being able to just try any kind of sausage you can find and mix it up if you want. So I went to my local butcher, like I said, and I found a mild Italian and I found a country sausage. So I'm going to be using that. And the second recipe is a roasted vegetable torte, which when I looked at the recipe, I'm like, I don't think this is going to be something I'm gonna like, but it's in the cookbook, you gotta cook it, right? So I started reading through it. I'm like, this might not be too bad. It's gonna take some preparation time, and it did. I'm recording this after the fact, but it did take some time. It tasted amazing, and it is amazingly simple. It's a little time consuming for the preparation and for the assembling of the torte, but wow, it was really, really good. So basic ingredients, the appetizer is really simple. It's just the sausage, the puff pastry, Grey Poupon mustard, and Parmesan. Well, no, that's it. So I think you're gonna really like it. I'll show you how I made it, and I hope you enjoy it. So the recipe calls for a lamb sausage, which I went to my local butcher market that I go to here, and they didn't have any lamb sausage, but they recommended a mild Italian sausage. And then I also got a country sausage. In the cookbook, she says to try different kinds of sausage. Any kind of sausage will do, and it's just the sausage that you get is in a coil or a link, a large link. So I'll show you what it looks like. And the only other things you need is puff pastry, some Grey Poupon mustard, and a egg for your egg wash. And what we're going to do first for our appetizer is we're going to cook that sausage, and then we're going to let it cool, and then we'll wrap it in the puff pastry. So one thing I wanted to thank some of my viewers for is some of the comments and suggestions that they've made. Again, I'm not a trained cook. I'm definitely not the most technical person, so learning how to do some of this video taping and the audio and the editing has been a super big challenge for me. It's been fun, but it's been a challenge, and I really appreciate the comments and suggestions. One of the suggestions is came from several people, and then my brother actually gave me a link to a wireless mic, which I think is also drowning out my Sonos speakers. I hate cooking in the kitchen without any music. And when I was taping before, I had to shut off the music because it came through on the video. Well, now the video is not picking up, and the audio is not picking up my Sonos speaker, and I can finally listen to music again while I cook in the kitchen, which I like. So this is, again, a simple recipe, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, we're going to start with the cooking of our sausage. And I got two different kinds. I got a mild Italian, so that I remember which is which. I'm going to put the mild Italian sausage this way on the pan. And The country sausage I will put this way in the pan. And you're going to cook it in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and then you'll turn the sausage and you'll cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes. Another thing I wanted to remind all the viewers is that I'm not giving you the recipes, but I have indicated on where you can get those recipes. You can go to barefootcontessa.com and just go to the search bar in the website and enter in the recipe. I've given you the name of the recipe just as it appears in the cookbooks, and search those recipes. And on that website, it will actually either give you the recipe or it will tell you what cookbook it is in. If you can't find it that way, you can also go to foodnetwork.com and you can enter in the recipe, like for example, lamb sausage puff pastry, Ina Garten, and it'll come up and it'll give you the recipe, as well as sometimes on the recipe it will give you a video of her of Ina Garten preparing the recipe on one of her cooking shows on foodnetwork.com. Okay, so we've had our sausage in for 20 minutes and we're going to give it a quick check, and it smells really good. Apparently Wilson thinks so too. And we're going to just give it a quick turn here, and then we're going to cook it for about another 15 minutes. And then we're going to let it cool completely and before we start wrapping it in the puff pastry. So put it back in the oven for 10-15 minutes and see what we get. Okay, it's been about another 10 minutes with our sausage cooking. So it should be done. Ooh, it looks good, nice and brown. You know what? I'm just going to turn the oven off because I've got you-know-who lurking in the background. And this sausage smells really good. So I'm just going to leave it in the oven with the oven door cracked so that it doesn't continue to cook too much longer while it cools off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with getting our puff pastry ready to roll our sausage in. And so what I've done is I've taken 2 sheets of frozen puff pastry, lay them flat on the cutting board with lightly floured cutting board, and I'm going to cut these both of these sheets of puff pastry in half. Just going to use the pastry cutter here just to give it a cut. Give each one of them a cut. Take your Grey Poupon mustard and just spread it at the top of each one of the sheets with a pastry brush. Next, you'll just want to lay your sausage on the Grey Poupon mustard, and you're going to just roll the sausage up in the puff pastry. And then just take a little bit of water, run it along the edge of the pastry to help seal it up. And again, just kind of just pushing the sausage into the puff pastry to kind of wrap it as tightly as possible. And then again, at the edge, just dip your fingers in some water and run it along the edge to help seal up the puff pastry. And then just kind of crimp it at the side, and we'll cut off the excess here in a second. Pretty simple. Next, you'll just take your rolled sausage and puff pastry, put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper, and get it ready to pop in the oven. I've made these ahead a couple hours, so I'll just be putting. So I'm getting ready to put in the, what is it? I can't remember what this is called now. Sausage appetizers while my torte is in the refrigerator chilling. And you just put on an egg wash before you put these in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And before you put them in the oven, just slightly score them 7 times on each, so that at a diagonal, so it cuts individually slices. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and get started on our roasted vegetable torte. Here's everything we're going to need. We're going to need some freshly minced garlic. We've got some eggplant, zucchini. We've got red, yellow, and orange bell pepper. And we've got Parmesan cheese. So I've taken my zucchini and I've sliced it maybe about a 1/4 inch thick. I've minced my garlic and I've sliced my red onion. Add your zucchini and your red onion to a skillet with olive oil over medium heat. Add your minced garlic and cook your zucchini and your onions for maybe about 10 minutes over medium heat. So I've taken my eggplant and I've sliced it about a 1/4 inch, and I've halved my orange, yellow, and red bell peppers as best that I could and cored them and seeded them. And then I've just put kosher salt and coarse black pepper on them. And I'm going to roast them in the oven. So now I started layering my vegetables. I started with the roasted eggplant that I've roasted and layered that on the bottom of the pan. Then I took half of the zucchini and the red onions and put that on the next layer. And then I've just started layering my roasted red peppers, or any of the roasted peppers, excuse me. And they're still a little hot. And just keep alternating those layers until I use up all the peppers. Now that I've layered all the peppers into the spring pan, I'm going to finish it off with another layer of the sauteed zucchini and onions. So I've layered all my roasted vegetables, alternating with the peppers, finished up with the zucchini and the red onion. And in between the layers, I put shredded Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to finish it off with another layer of eggplant. No, Wilson. Get your nose out of there. I'll tell you what, you'll be very surprised to hear that it smells, just by roasting these vegetables with some salt and pepper. Man, does it smell good. This is not something that I would have thought I would have ever made, but boys, I think it's going to be good. Okay, so now that it's done, I'm going to take the bottom of another springform pan and lay it on top. There's going to be a lot of liquid in this, so you want to press down, and then you also want to put this in another baking sheet, so that because it's going to leak out of the springform pan, and then you just want to set a whole bunch of dishes on top of it to help weight it down and help squeeze out that, and you're going to put it in the refrigerator to chill it.